All right. So, my name's I'm Mike Tiesworth. I'm the person that's kind of coordinating the Panther Virtual School, and I've been in communication with you and your parents. Parents, I've been emailing to the email that you use to register for Panther Virtual. And students, I'm posting everything on Schoology in a group that you belong to called Panther Virtual. I know you probably have a lot of virtual courses in Schoology. You don't have to worry about those right now. I think we're going to stick to the main communication being in the group called Panther Virtual. So if you don't know where you're supposed to be looking for communications, click on groups and then you'll choose Panther Virtual in Schoology. All right, so that's how I'm going to be reaching back and forth out to you. And parents, you can email me, and students, you can email me anytime with questions, especially technical ones. We'll try and get this Google Meet stuff worked out where some of you are having a hard time joining that. So what we're going to talk about today is how you're going to work with your mentor teacher. That's Mrs. Levine, our Spanish teacher here at the high school. There she is. She teaches part-time here for half a day, and then the other half of the day she's going to be working with you guys. So she has many different aspects to her job. Just to be somebody that you can count on to help keep you on pace with your course. And she's going to talk about some communication that is required as part of being a virtual student. You're required to communicate with a teacher here at school 2 times a week. And that's communication back and forth with Mrs. Levine. So she's going to help keep track of that and talk about that a little bit more. And then we'll also have some Google Meets like this where we can answer questions. We want to make sure too that you feel part of our school still. So we'll try and have some kind of inclusion here to do fun stuff. And if we ever have things that's going on at the school that we want you to know about, we can do that as well. Mr. Stapleton's here. He's going to say a few words right now. Jumping in if you'd like to, Mr. Stapleton, to welcome them.
Hi, everybody. Great to see everybody back. I know this is, a different transition with regards to how you've, received your education in the past. Some of you guys really excelled in the spring, in March, when we transitioned to virtual before the end of the year, and now have decided to come back virtual, either through your parents or through you. And just want to give you not only a welcome back, just a reminder that because you're virtual, you're still part of our Panther family and are part of our school and all the things that are going on. I know a number of you may be participating, maybe some extracurriculars or doing some other things, but we're going to be blasting out news to you just like we would to every other student. You still get Power School notices, you'll still get Schoology updates and all the things that we push out as far as announcements go. So keep checking that stuff and make sure if you have any questions with regards to school stuff and and what you can and can't be included in, just make sure you give us a holler and give us a question. We just want to make sure you're still part of the big Panther family and you feel like you're still connected. All right, thanks, Mr. Tiesworth. And I'm going to stay on the call and stay on this meeting to answer any questions and clarifications. Oh, and one more thing, Mr. T, if I could add, just a reminder too, this is a lot different than what we did in the spring. I mean, this is full scale class. Your scores, I mean, everything counts, and everything's going to be, this is just like being butt and seat, but you're doing it at your houses, and then that'll be part of your, report cards and your transcripts and your scores, and so just make sure that you understand that, this is the real deal. We're not in a credit, no credit situation. So I wanted to make sure that was clear, and that way, if any questions like that come up in the future, at least you've had this kind of communication. Thanks, Mr. T.
Thanks. After Ms. Levine's done with when she talks about how she's going to be working with you, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the nuts and bolts of Edgenuity and answer some of your questions that you have about your courses. But I'm going to let Ms. Levine talk for a while here and get in on what she's all about.
Hi, guys. Well, for those of you that don't know me, Mr. Tiesworth already said my name's Mrs. Levine. And yeah, some of you, hola, Nick. Some of you I've had in Spanish, so it's good to see your faces. Logan, I like your hair. Looks like you let it grow out a little bit. Yeah. And so for those of you that don't know me, I'm super excited to get to know you and help you out through this. Just know that I'm always here if you have any questions. So you can always send me an email. and I'll get right back to you. You can also use the chat feature in your email. Do you guys all know how to do that? I guess that's more of a rhetorical question right now. But if you don't know how to do that, let me know and I can show you how to use the chat feature if you just have a quick question for me. But I can really help you out with anything that you need help with as far as Edgenuity goes. And then if it's something more specific, like maybe you need help with, I don't know, algebra, or there's something that I'm not familiar with, then I can definitely send you over to Miss Pencil or help you get connected with the right teacher to help you. So when you have questions, go ahead and contact me. All right. Don't hesitate to send me an email or a chat in Google. So you're free to contact me anytime. But what we have to do for attendance purposes is have two, like Mr. Tiesworth was saying, two-way conversations every week. And that means two-way means that I contact you and you answer my questions and talk back to me, right? So that's 2 ways. So I might do that. My preferred way to do that would just be do a Google Meet with you, because I think it's really fun to see your face and chat in person, and then we can, you know, have a better conversation that way. So we'll do some Google Meets, and then if you really don't like that, then we can always communicate through email or even like a voice message back and forth. But the biggest thing is that however we communicate, so whether I send you an email or if we have a time that we set up for a Google Meet to have a little meeting, that you come to the meeting or you respond to my email, because that's how we take attendance for the year, or for the week, for the day, for the year, whatever. So it's really, really important that when I send you an email or we have a meet, that you respond. Okay. And also, I'm not just sending you that for an attendance reason, right? So I might see that you have something that you're having a hard time with in a class, and I want to check in with you on that. Or I might see that you haven't logged in for a while, so maybe you're having some issues logging in or some internet issues or whatever. So when I contact you, you know, it's for attendance, but it's also, I just want to help you out as much as I can. So yeah, so make sure that you respond, all right? I think that's really all that I had to talk to you about. Yeah, don't be afraid to connect with me. I'll start setting up times to meet or sending out emails next week. So we'll get that going next week. And until then, of course, for the rest of this week and over the weekend, if you have questions, just send me an email and I'll get back with you. But we'll start our official correspondence and communications and meetings and that kind of thing, touching base next week. Okay. All right.
Okay. So parents, if you're in here and your child was having trouble getting in there, don't worry about that. There is a recording here of this, and that's going to be an issue till we get that worked out. I'm liking that I'm seeing some emails from kids that are saying we can't get in. That's good to just touch base, saying, hey, we're trying, and it's not working for us. So that means, that technically that's an attendance saying that you're making an effort to be here. So we'll continue to work on the Google Meet and find out why that's a problem. As long as you watch the recording and you get your questions answered through email, I think we're still in good shape. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Edgenuity and some of the things you guys have noticed in Edgenuity. First of all, the start date, we picked a start date of September 9th, and that may not have been the start date that you started your class because you didn't have the information yet, or you're having some trouble with your login. So you may have noticed that you were behind or had missing assignments. Those missing assignments are just something that Edgenuity calls it when you are not on pace with what they thought you should be on pace with. So Edgenuity has a start date of the 9th. So they thought, uh-oh, this person's not starting on the 9th. So if you started on the 10th, it might say you're a little bit behind. I tried to move some of the start dates if kids are starting really late because they didn't have information, but I'm not sure if some of you just ended up catching up. But you have a certain amount of content that you have to get done before January 22nd, right? And Edgenuity says, if you want to get done on time and you're not working on the weekends and you're not working on Thanksgiving, you should do this amount of work each day. And it tells you how many minutes. So if you skip a day, it will take the amount of time you have left and it'll squeeze it into, and it'll give you a little more time per day to get that done. So you really don't have missing assignments. It's just Edgenuity's way of poking you, saying, hey, you better get to work. So don't worry about the missing assignments. It's not going to lower your grade as long as you can kind of get caught back up into the pace that is recommended. All right. And if you know, we can tell that on your progress reports, we can tell how much time you've spent. So we can see if you're making an effort to get back on pace. So maybe when progress reports come out, you know, halfway through the quarter, or we're getting ready for parent-teacher conferences, and we see that, you know, you're way behind, well, that's different than a few days because you had a late start, obviously. So keep that in mind and just keep looking at those pacing guides. Edgenuity does a great job to give you a little colored bar per class. They tell you how many minutes you're supposed to spend per day. So I'm hoping that that kind of helps you out as far as figuring out what you're supposed to be doing with your pacing. Is there any questions just on the pacing part? And Riley, I'm going to mute you. You're getting me some interference there.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Especially if you had a question. I didn't mean to mute you while you're in the middle of maybe asking a question. All right, let's talk about some other things, like some things that might hold you up from moving forward in your course. One reason is that you have an activity that you've done and it needs to be reviewed by a teacher. So I've had probably maybe 10 of those that I've done for kids. I am not a Spanish teacher. I am not a language arts teacher. I'm not a math teacher, et cetera, but I have been reviewing your work and trying my best to give you an appropriate grade on what you've submitted at this time. There's like a little rubric that I can look at to grade your essays with. And so I've looked at the rubric and tried to give a fair grade based off of that to allow you to keep going on your courses. If you find an activity that has to be reviewed by a teacher, I think Ms. Levine and Ms. Stevenson, you guys can chime in. I would think that you'd want to give us 24 hours to look at that assignment. Do not email us right away saying, hey, we finished with an activity and we're waiting for you to review it. Give us 24 hours to review it. It probably will be sooner than that, but you have plenty of other courses that you can work in, and we don't want you to fall behind. So we'll try and get to that as soon as we can on the reviewing of your content. Some other examples of that content may be like, I think some people had to record Spanish words, and I listened to them recording those and checked that they did a good job on that, things like that. I think there also are quizzes that if you did a good job on the quiz or an assessment, I think that it'll still require a teacher to review that quiz or assessment. The big one that most of you have come in contact with was a retake. So Edgenuity requires 70% success on a quiz. And if you don't achieve 70%, they make you retake the quiz. And unfortunately for you, I believe the quizzes are not exactly word for word the same in any way. They have a huge test bank and they give you the same content, but with different questions. So that makes it a little bit harder for you to retake if you're expecting those same questions to come back over and over. So I think you're allowed 2 retakes by default. And after that, it locks you out and it says your teacher needs to check in with you. So what I've been doing, because I'm such a nice guy, is I'm just throwing retakes at you whenever you need them. So I throw 2 more retakes your way as soon as I see that it comes up. Again, your teacher isn't going to be able to just stop whatever they're doing and jump over and issue retakes like it's candy on Halloween. It might take some time for them to get to that situation where they issue you the retakes, okay? Now, the other thing I'm thinking is if you are retaking quizzes over and over and over and over, you may have to kind of rethink how you're approaching your course. Maybe you're not taking notes. Maybe you're like, oh, I didn't even know I was supposed to be taking notes. Nobody's going to be remembered all that content that you're getting. So you should be taking either e-notes on the side of Edgenuity or writing stuff. You should have notebooks maybe for each of your classes. This is something you can start to do to formulate how you're going to stay organized and succeed. So take notes, review things you may have to study before a quiz. So we'll keep an eye on those retakes, and Ms. Levine will kind of work out a system with you, and she'll keep an eye on how many retakes are coming our way and what we should do with those. There is a point, and Ms. Levine and I will talk about this some more, where You know, maybe the quiz just isn't working for you and we have to figure out maybe an oral way to assess your skills or something, and we can bypass that retake and move you on. Right now, I don't want to do that because I don't want you to move on with a 60% and have it hurt your grade right now. So I'm giving you some chances to retake. That may change. We'll see how it goes. We'll take that student per student basis. And Ms. Stevenson, I'm going to invite you in to talk a little bit too in a second here. We have not gotten to major tests or assessments yet. So I'm kind of waiting to see how that works with Edgenuity. If you didn't realize yet, we're all new at this program. So we're all working through this as well, just like you guys are. All right, I have just a few more things to say about the content, and then I'm going to have Mrs. Stevenson talk a little bit, and then we'll wrap this up with some questions from you. So I think as you have watched the videos, you may have noticed you can't fast forward through videos. I know that's painful for you, especially if you feel like you're a know-it-all and you know everything. You don't have to watch the video. They're going to make you watch the video. And if you have to review the course and go back and do an activity over again, I'm not positive on if you have to watch the video again the second time through. I haven't done that as a student. So, and again, I'm not sure how you're feeling with taking 5 to 6 online courses and watching all that content and keeping pace and having structure in your house to do that. I would definitely build in some breaks during the day for yourself so your eyes don't bug out and you can concentrate and have some variety in what courses you're approaching every day. So that's all stuff that Miss Levine can help you with and Mrs. Stevenson can help you with to help you streamline and make you have a better chance to succeed, because you're going through a lot right now with all of those courses. I understand. I feel your pain on that it's not an easy thing to get used to. We have kids that come to high school and they have one online class that they're supposed to do, and they go to the media center to do it. And some of those kids have a hard time making themselves work and get things done. So hats off to you guys for tackling 5 or 6 courses and doing it at home where there's pets running around and baby brothers and sisters and there's Xbox sitting 5 feet away from you. That's hard. So we know it's hard, but you're gonna have to batten down the hatches there and work hard to get to succeed on this. It's not going to be easy. So congratulations on tackling this and good luck. Mrs. Stevenson, did you want to reach out and say anything?
Yeah, I just want to introduce myself. So I'm Mrs. Stevenson. I work with a handful of kids that are doing the virtual platform. And I just kind of going off what you were saying, I have communicated with all those kids their goal for time to work on each course each day. And I feel like that's huge for you guys to be able to get a schedule and know that my goal for algebra every day is X amount of time. I just feel like it gives you kind of a good goal in each, because sometimes they're longer or they're shorter depending on your progress within it. So you might need to spend some extra time on your art course this week. So that's been something that I think has been really good for the students I work with, is knowing in their head that I have to work X amount of time on this course every day. And then also just, I mean, you're more than welcome to reach out to me as well. I know I have my students that I need to answer and get to first, but I am more than happy to help anyone else.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to add 2 more things, sorry, and then I'll answer some questions from you. I forgot to stress more about Miss Pencil. Some of you have not met her yet because you may be new to the high school, but Miss Pencil is, she's a pro at tutoring. She tutors kids for SAT and ACT tests. She knows everything about math backwards and forwards. She's really patient and works well with kids. She has posted something in the virtual group about tutoring times that you can sign up for. She even has an hour at school here where she's dedicated to helping you out. So if you're stuck on content or you're having a hard time, you need to reach out to her or Miss Levine or Miss Stevenson or me, and one of us can point you in the right direction. And Miss Levine said this too, if you're really stuck on a science concept and you know Mr. Resnich pretty well, reach out to us and we'll connect you with Mr. Resnich if you want to talk to them about a certain topic. We're trying to avoid having all of you kids go right to a teacher that's in the school because they're busy teaching face-to-face. That's why we're all here to support you and make the connections you need to make on that. I had something to say about those minutes, Mrs. Stevenson. You had a good point there. Oh, I know what it was. So you may say to yourself, hey, Edgenuity requires me to be in my class for 20 minutes today. So you go into your class and you click on an activity, and then you go play Xbox for 20 minutes. And then you come back. All right, Edgenuity knows about idle time. And so that's one aspect of it. More importantly, besides the software is trying to catch you from just sitting around doing nothing, obviously you're not going to learn the content if you go play Xbox while Edgenuity is running in the background on a different computer or something. So we want you to succeed, but obviously we want you to succeed by learning something along the way. That's the whole point. We don't want you to come back to school whenever you decide to come back to school and you're lacking on this content because you tried to find ways around Edgenuity, or you try to find ways to cheat the system. That's going to put you in a terrible position when you come back. So we really, really want you to learn the content and succeed. That's important to all of us here. So please reach out and do that with us. Mr. Stapleton or Ms. Levine, do you have anything else before we open it up for some questions? No? Okay. So questions, it'd be great if you could put your microphone on instead of doing the chat, because it's easier just to hear you, and I like hearing you and even seeing your face if you want to pop your face in there.
Mr. Tiesworth, sorry, I did just really quickly want to say, like Mrs. Stevenson was talking about having a plan. I know that can even be overwhelming sometimes to think like, how do I map all of this out, or how do I figure out what I want to work on? So even if you need help just with making a plan, you can always reach out to me, because I can see what all of your classes are. So even if you need help just planning your day, let me know and I can help you with that. Okay.
Are there any parents or students that have any questions out there?
This isn't really a question. I did type it in the chat, but Mr. Tidesworth, you were saying that you didn't really know if you could fast forward through the videos your second time through. I do know from experience, I did reach out to Mrs. Pencil already. Her and I were going through the videos, and you can fast forward through them your second or third time through.
Okay, so that's good news in some ways, because if you don't think you need to watch anything, you can skip through there. But obviously, if you were having a hard time and they're making you go through again, you may need to go back and watch part of those videos. But that's good that maybe the content you missed is toward the end of the video and you can skip right to that. Thanks a lot, Nick. Is there anything else out there, guys? All right, I want to make sure if you have friends, parents, or kids, if you know other people that are having a hard time getting in here, make sure that they're not stressed out about something counting against them in this situation. We'll work through this part. So please pass the word on that they're not going to fail their online course because they missed their Google Meet today. And I understand that's our responsibility to get that fixed. So we'll work on that. The big thing, if you want to succeed and maintain things, is to be able to be in regular contact with Ms. Levine and watch for announcements and emails. And of course, make progress on your online course. So with that, if everybody else is happy with that, we will go, and I will post this recording in Schoology in the Panther virtual group. All right, guys, thanks for coming. Matthew, I like seeing your face the whole time. I appreciate that. Thanks, buddy.